All right, you saw the thumbnail, the title. That's why you're here. Let's get started. So to start off, first things first, you with any finish, you have to set the groundwork with an appropriate level of finish. So I have taken this fuselage down past the original covering. It's an ARF. Stripped all the covering off and glassed it. I used Deluxe Materials Easy Coat. Did 2 layers of that. So applied once, let it dry to tacky, and then apply again. It's nice thick material, so you only have to do like 2 coats. And then I let it cure overnight, and then sand it back using 120 grit. 100 would probably be fine too. Wouldn't go below that. Otherwise you risk eating into the glass itself. Yeah, so once it gets rough and there's a good bite, then I did a light coat of primer. And then once that got tacky, a couple minutes later, did another coat of primer. The primer I'm using is High Build Automotive Primer. And once that is cured another day, then you can sand back and look at what your pinholes look like. I, again, started with 120, started moving to 220, and it just wasn't right. So I did another pass with the 120, shot another coat of primer, let it cure another night, came back and hit it with 120. Looks great. And then the 220, and we are ready to rock. Do a dry wipe with a paper towel, and then another paper towel with isopropyl alcohol, just using like 91%, and that way it evaporates, removes any grease from your fingertips as well as dust from the primer, and that way you're ready to go. Okay, so that's all your surface prep. Now, the materials that I'm using here, cheap Amazon vinyl. Okay, this is HTVRONT. HTVRONT. I'll put a link in the description of the video, but it's just chrome. Chrome vinyl wrap, and we're not using heat. The heat apparently does things to the chrome, number 1, and it does things to the adhesive, number 2. So when it comes off the roll, it looks like kind of covering stuff, but it's sandwiched, okay? There is a backing to the adhesive, and then when you apply it, there is a clear part over top of that. And do the best you can to try to apply over top of this clear coat, otherwise you risk getting little micro scratches working out some of the bubbles. Bubbles, you'll see what I mean when I do a demonstration of this here. So let me show you the work surface that we've got for the demonstration. All right, as you can see, I've already done some work and it already looks quite nice. Oh. Okay, so moving on, we have 2 more panels we need to do. It's important that you lay out your panel lines, your scale panel lines. And the reason for that is we don't do like one whole schmear across the whole fuselage. You do this in panels, just like I did with the aluminum. So I've got 2 panels here marked off with lines, and then we are going to line off these with this vinyl tape. Also will be linked in the description below. So the vinyl tape acts as a barrier, as also an embossed surface for where to cut. I'll show you exactly what I mean when we get there, have no fear. But I'm going to put you on the tripod and I'm going to walk this through you step by step. All right, so I like to go ahead and take my vinyl tape and I will stretch it out to where I need for the entire length of the line and then cut it. The reason that I do this is because this tape is somewhat stretchy. And so you can stretch it to create straight lines and it makes it easy. So rather than tack it down and then pull it and then have to deal with the awkwardness of this side. Yeah, this is just a lot easier in my opinion. So stretch it and then lay it down. So note that I am working within this area. So this area there will be an overlap. And it's important to note that I'm working back to front, bottom to top. So I've done the bottom first. See, did the bottom first, and then you work your way up, starting at the back, moving forward. And this makes sense because when your panel lines overlap, you want it to overlap top to bottom, as well as front to back. So note that I have a slight gap here, a couple of millimeters. It's 1/16 of an inch, roughly, for those who are in imperial system. So that way you have a little bit of overlap between the seams, and I'll show you how that looks afterwards because it gives a nice panel line look. So key things is the less that you lift, the more errors that you have in lifting, you're gonna be able to see slight imperfections. That's not inherently bad. It's just if you're looking for a perfect finish, try not to lift and your technique will get better as you go along. So I am going to pull the backing off. And I am going to simply center this as best as I can. All right, so I'm starting in the center, and I will work down. All right. Working down, go to the other side. All right. Now, see, there's a bubble there. Try to lift there. So we're gonna go. There's my line, and my line, and my line. All right, so these spreaders also I will link to. And then as you get to this part, you'll stretch a little bit. Notice my tension that I'm giving. All right. So that's the basics of the panel application. It's really, really easy. Now what we're going to do is, since our panel is applied, we're going to try to separate this clear film. There we go. That's probably the easiest way. Get a piece of tape on the corner and it just lifts right off. Comes right off. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the edge, this felted edge. I don't like to use the hard edge. I'll use the felted edge. And I'm going to go along all of these edges to score it a little bit further. Get it to stick. We're trying to refine this edge. All right, so now that that is done, we're going to go through with a fine tip Sharpie. The reason we're using Sharpie is because Sharpie will come off of this material very easily with isopropyl alcohol. So what I'm going to do is go into this edge that we've created with the vinyl tape and scored it, and we're going to go deep into that, press it a little bit hard, pushing slightly away from the surface that you've just applied. And then from here, we're going to just apply a score line. You don't have to go super deep, just a score line. And then with the excess, we can trim up. Once we get it going, we can pull. Like a Band-Aid, just rip it off. If you have issues with adhesion on your primer, then you didn't do it right. So for this line, I'll demonstrate as well. Again, it's the same idea that we just did. It's okay if you slip away. You're just trying to make sure that you're, number one, pressing the vinyl into that crease, but you're also creating a mark for you to guide along, because it's very difficult to see this. Now I'm going to have to roll this into different light, and you get all sorts of weird reflections. But just go slow, and again, you're just scoring this line. If I bump into the tripod, I'm sorry. All right, and then number 2. Okay, so this is the tricky one. This is the tricky one. Since we have a panel overlap, we in effect have 2 different lines. Let's see if I can rotate this to see that on camera. There, that zoomed in area. You can see it here where there's a line here and a line here, and we're going for that one, the second one, because we want that overlap, right? So that's what I'm going to do. All right. That worked out great. Again, the same thing. I have found that if I hold my fingers too close, that I get more reflections up close, so that's why I'm going away, holding the blade a little bit further away. All right. All right, and all right, so now we have this bit of vinyl tape to remove. And there's a little bit of residue, some adhesive residue from both of those. Don't worry about that. Now we're gonna work on this end part here. You can use scissors for this. I'm perfectly comfortable just doing that. And then couple of scores, and then work over one at a time. All right. So that's done. Now we're going to take our paper towel we are going to add some isopropyl alcohol. It doesn't take much, just a drop or two. And we'll wipe off the ink and any other residual adhesive. It'll come right up. Paper towels that I'm using, these are really soft Viva paper towels from Walmart. Same ones that I used in my aluminum video. They very much are soft and less prone to leaving scratch marks on this material. So that's it. We can do a final cleanup later with some Windex. Certainly before we go and do additional details. Oh, there's some additional residue. You can certainly use something like Goof Off or whatever, because again, it's vinyl. It should clean right up. Just don't use anything like acetone. So that's it. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. It's quite the simple process that doesn't take long. Once you have all the surface prep done, that's honestly the bulk of the work. And this stuff is cheap enough that if you mess up a panel, pull it up and start over again. You kind of don't care. It's pretty forgiving. It does stretch. It will stretch with heat, obviously. But again, I encourage you to try to not to. But also make sure that you're doing that overlap, because this stuff is going to wiggle and settle a bit over time. My suggestion also is to the next day go over any seams that you of panels that you laid down. The adhesive may have softened as things have stretched back. So just kind of put it back in its place. It will settle over time, I promise. It'll be good. You can also go ahead and use sandpaper to create a grain on these sheets, like cut a panel, and you can do, vertical or horizontal or even diagonal grain with, like 220 sandpaper or something like that. So if you want to go with a grained look, you can go that way as well. I wanted to go polished on this, so that's what I'm doing, and that's why I had to do so much work in the finish, because if you have a mistake there, it will be exaggerated through the reflective surface. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I am just pleased as punch with this. And in fact, you can see very clearly that this is quite the surface. A quick demonstration of how reflective this is. It's remarkable. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for stopping by the workshop. Make sure you head on over to dubro.com, get yourself 10% off using code Josh10, and keep working on your flying works of art.